The saying goes, everything is bigger in Texas. And apparently, that includes racism too. While the majority of the country was enjoying the holidays with their loved ones, the Dallas Morning News's editorial board was busy making a mistake that could have lasting effects on the news publication. The news organization's editorial board has decided to name Richard Spencer as a finalist for their 2017 Texan of the Year award. But here's the problem: Spencer is a white supremacist, and the editorial board knows it. Spencer, a Dallas native, is credited with coining the term alt-right. His speeches and writings represent a new breed of white supremacy that seeks to sound mainstream while adhering to the same ugliness spotted by the likes of former KKK leader David Duke. But unlike Duke, Spencer in 2017 portrayed white nationalists as victims of what he calls an anti-white agenda, expanding his appeal to people who are fed up with a multitude of social and economic issues. His influence on national politics even drew the wrath of Nebraska Sen. Ben Sasse, who called Spencer a brown shirt pajama boy Nazi. For his uncommon negative impact, Spencer, who did not respond to interview requests for this editorial, is a finalist for the 15th annual Dallas Morning News Texan of the Year. This designation is not meant as an award, but as recognition of those Texans who had uncommon impact, which can be a positive or negative impact, during the past year. Normalizing white supremacy is part of the reason why America is in its current state. With a white supremacist apologist currently occupying the White House, it's no wonder that they showed up in Charlottesville, Virginia, not once, but twice this year. If you take a look at the Dallas Morning News's Facebook page, you will see that many people are upset with the decision. The Texan of the Year series, including this editorial, is not an endorsement, honor, or celebration, the organization wrote in response to a commenter on their Facebook page. We hope that people will read the full essay before making their comments, as it is important to the editorial board that Texas have conversations about the entities highlighted by Texan of the Year. In the past, the Dallas Morning News has given the yearly award to judges, criminal justice reform lawyers, doctors, and ex-honorees who have worked to help fix the system that wrongfully imprisoned them. But this is Texas we're talking about. Earlier this year, Dallas Cowboys owner Jerry Jones threatened to bench any of his players if they kneeled in peaceful protest during the national anthem. A clear threat that was aimed at black players who were trying to bring awareness to police brutality, racism, and social injustices. Houston, Texas owner Bob McNair also commented on player protests and said that we can't have the inmates running the prison. Jones would later defend McNair because that's what the Good Old Boy Network does. But he's really a guy that has a lot of influence and I admire him greatly, he said. I know that I did hear him. I heard him. He did not and was not talking about the players. Back in 2015, Texas school books described the transatlantic slave trade as something that brought millions of workers to plantations in America. According to the textbooks, slavery was a part of the African American experience in which hope and joy were parts of the upside of the institution. And in 2010, the Texas Board of Education approved a social studies curriculum that promoted Republican political philosophies, including textbooks that downplayed slavery as the cause of the Civil War. While much of the focus on racism in the South is centered on states like Georgia, South Carolina, Mississippi, and Alabama, people should remember that Texas is still a part of the Deep South. We've got to work harder to convince people that Dallas is a good place to be. That quote is from Michael Boone, a founding partner of the Dallas law firm Haynes & Boone, from a 2012 story in D Magazine on why black professionals were wary of moving to Dallas. In the article, Boone discussed how his firm struggled to recruit African American attorneys to Dallas, despite the fact that the Dallas-Fort Worth metro area ranked fourth just 5 years ago in terms of attracting the largest number of African Americans between 2006 and 2010. For all the growth and opportunity and dynamism of Dallas, the racial divide persists, said James Waters, a black attorney who works in Dallas, in the article. I'm not entirely certain why that is so, but I think many thoughtful people are concerned about it. The ability to understand when you are unwanted is a sixth sense to black people in this country. We've always had it, and from the quotes up above, it is clear that black people understood it about Dallas and Texas back then, and still do today. The Dallas Morning News has the largest circulation of any newspaper in the state of Texas. And although I feel they have made a huge and insensitive mistake by naming a white supremacist as a finalist for the Texan of the Year, I also understand that it's their editorial board's job to recognize Texans who made an uncommon impact during the past year. The Dallas Morning News has decided to recognize a person who wants to see people that look like me dead. White supremacy isn't something that should be honored. It's a cancer that needs to be eradicated.